Yeah, and I think I'm taking the notes, so.
Okay, I only saw 4 questions that we were supposed to discuss, so feel free to give, like, talk some so we can get our time. But the first question asks, do you think these individuals have prayerfully sought to study and understand the doctrine of the family? You can have Sarah start and then Shelby follow.
No.
Why?
Do you want me to elaborate?
Yeah.
I thought I assumed it was like church-based stuff, and I'm reading it going, what? What is that thing about priority, and priority is more important than like the pure heart? And I kept on reading that sentence going, does that make sense? And then it got down to the end, and I just like, oh, okay, I got it. This is the other angle. When I was talking about, the stripling soldiers as a horrible story, and I just like, okay, I got it. It's one of the, I don't know, just the intellectual angle. So, no.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if they were sincerely praying and studying the doctrine of the family, then I think they would understand the two general conference talks that we discussed more, and the messages that the general authorities were trying to give. And I feel like a lot of the points that they brought out have been mentioned in talks or in the family proclamation before. Like they just mentioned lots of things, and I think because they were just going off the Mothers Who Know talk, and so they weren't taking into account, they weren't thinking about all the other things that the general authorities have said. So.
Okay. I'm on a different page than you guys. Are you talking about the 2 articles from?
It's what mothers know rather than, and then mothers know that what's Sister Beck's? She was serving as the general Mothers Who Know, and then what was the answer to that called?
What women know?
What women?
Yeah.
What women? See, and how they changed that. It was, what women know, not what mothers know. It was sour. I was sad. I was sad.
Okay. I didn't love the What Women Know article. Yeah. I don't know that I would say they would perfectly thought myself. But I agree with what you two have said so far. So, okay. Which of the readings did you side with more and why?
I have loved Sister Beck's address. I have read that so many times. Are you familiar with it, both of you? Was it kind of new to you? A little bit. You've heard it.
I've heard it before, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it.
I love it. I have. I mean, it actually, personally, it was kind of a lean back, fall back onto talk for me during my years with teenagers and prioritizing my life. I think so highly of Sister Beck. I mean, she speaks as a woman of God, and it is doctrine. That is pure doctrine, and the Spirit testifies to it. The spirit of that address is powerful. So yeah, that's where I cited.
Yeah, I really liked both of the general conference talks. I mean, I get in a sense where the people who wrote the What Women Know were what they were trying to do and say, but it was crazy to me how much they would take a true principle or doctrine and then change it just enough that it wasn't true anymore. For example, they said that the fathers and men were called as well as mothers and women to be nurturers. And they also said in a couple other places how men are supposed to help with the housework and everything. I mean, that's true and is talked about in the family proclamation, but it is mainly a woman's role to fulfill the nurturing duties, which I think includes being homemakers. So it was interesting to see how they would just twist it enough that it wasn't the doctrine.
Can I just interject on that? I'm back on that page.
Yeah.
The last line that she said, or is like two or three sentences to the end, but she says, "We are not our roles." I just, I, I just, this intellectualism stuff. I have so little patience for it. These people are so blessed by God, and to sit there and try to counsel him. Anyhow.
I also love the Mothers Who Know talk a lot. I took a lot of notes again. I like that she doesn't ever say, I don't know that she never says it, but she uses mothers a lot, like instead of she or her or women. Like she always started with mothers, and I felt like it really drove the point home. All that you have. And I like how she talked about eternal influence a lot.
She would finish every one of her sentences. She had all these bullet points. So I just listened to it again, and after she would have a different point, whatever it is, and she would it was just her argument. I mean, in fact, I think she constructed. I would assume that she constructed this talk in response to letters and in response to the temperament back in when was that, like 95? When did she write that? I'm kind of curious to know. Oh, probably not that long.
I think it was 2007 is what it said.
Yeah, okay, so just 10 years ago. But she would end each bullet point, so to speak, with, "That is power, that is influence." Did you notice that too?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What did you think the tone and intent of the What Women Know article?
Get my notes on that one.
I just read that right, exactly what it said.
So I don't deviate too much. Okay, the tone, okay. In closing, it said, "We will not be defined in roles," which bothered me, obviously. The tone was not spiritual, even though it spoke of religion. The intent is to get people focused into alternate views. I didn't like the feeling that it had with it. That's kind of what Shelby was saying. Alternate views, just like, I know you're kind of here, but look over here for just a little bit. It's not too far off.
Sorry, I'm finishing the notes. Okay. So yeah, I agree with what Sarah said. I think the intent was to refute, or I think they would say clarify maybe, what was being said in the Mothers Who Know talk. It reminds me a lot of what's being said recently about people saying they believe in parts of the gospel, but they don't believe in everything. Which I think it's okay to have questions and not to have a strong testimony of everything taught, but I think it was Uchtdorf who said, doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith. And I think that's something that people are having a hard time doing right now with all the different political and social debates going on. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I felt like it was a defense to everything that Sister Breck said. They were not necessarily pushing for men, but almost saying that what she said wasn't super important. If that makes any sense at all. But along with what you guys have said, I agree with it. And that like agency still exists for like women that want to be in the workforce and all that. It took me like halfway through the article to figure out what was happening. And I was like, wait, what are they talking about?
It really didn't make that much sense. I mean, it was interesting, and then it took me a while to figure out what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. Did you see any of these philosophies of men mingled with doctrine, and if so, where?
Okay. Examples of philosophy mingled with doctrine. I said the examples with the Strickland warriors. These authors of this article wrote, it is a story. How do they begin? This is not to be celebrated. He said, it is a story of the failure of human relationships and the horrors of war. That is something no one would disagree with. But what a temporal view. Helaman loved those young men, and they all loved freedom. The philosophy of killing is never right, but the doctrine that the doctrine is that there are times when killing is necessary. And I continued. I wrote, think of Laban, think of Pharaoh with his army. It's a lot of people. War is horrible, but we will fight for family, faith, and freedom. That's the spiritual side of it. It's such a temporal view. There's no spiritual side of it. So clearly, it just was to say that they didn't really. What was the very first question? Did they sought to prayerfully study and understand the doctrine?
Yeah. Like I kind of already said, they twisted a lot of things just enough to where it wasn't true doctrine anymore. And I feel like they also emphasized woman power and equality for women a lot. And that was a lot of their arguments with it. So that's definitely a philosophy of men mingled with doctrine.
Mine was like Shelby's, that be okay with women being more. They didn't try, but they talked about being okay. I talked about like degrading homemaking.
I couldn't hear that. Say that one more time.
Like when they degrade like homemaking.
Oh yeah.
There was somewhere in the reading that it talked about that and how it's not a career and for women that choose that. That is all the questions we were supposed to discuss. Is there anything else you maybe wanted to discuss?
What did you guys think about the Prager video this week?
Shelby, you can go first.
Okay. I thought it was really interesting because I thought it was interesting her backstory to it, where she used to be in the feminine movement and then she's changed, like feminism. It's kind of gotten out of control and we need to have a new feminism movement. I really liked what she had to say.
And I liked the background, and there was at the end she said, "Women must preserve our dignity, not be afraid to use the word no, and see men as partners, not as competitors or opposers, never oppressors." I really like that. I really liked how she pointed out that men have helped women get where they are, and women have helped men get where they are, and working together.
It's an awesome perspective, isn't it? Okay, thank you. I thought that was one of my favorite Prager ones. I've enjoyed most all of them, but that was so good. I was surprised that they had Eunice Kennedy on there. Do you guys remember her? Do you know Maria Shriver? Do you know who she is? So that lady, did you guys watch that one, the old lady?
Yeah.
With the Special Olympics, she's JFK's sister. And she married a Shriver, super ambitious, but and Maria married, those kids are Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids. She married Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she's been our first lady in California. She's been our governor's wife for years. So that's who they are. But that was an interesting, that was an interesting spin on it, because you have, really good, active women doing good things and still enjoying motherhood. And I thought it was a super good balance, to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of neat. even though she smokes cigars and wore men's pants, you know. I don't care what she does. She still was a woman and loved and valued the role of women. I think that's kind of a good example.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting. I had to kind of think about that after it was over.
There's nothing else we want to talk about. We can go ahead and go over the notes.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So for the first question, do you think individuals have purposely sought to study and understand the doctrine of the family? We said no, because it wasn't church-based. It was more the intellectual angle of it. And Sarah mentioned that the priority is more important than the pure of heart. And I talked about how if they were sincerely praying and studying the doctrine of the family, then they would understand and use past messages of General Conference in the family proclamation. And then question number 2, which of these readings did you side with more and why? We all loved Sister Beck's talk, The Mothers Who Know. And Sarah said it was a fallback talk when she had teenagers, and it helped her prioritize her life. And it's a pure doctrine, and the Spirit testified that to her. And Madison said that she liked how she used the word mothers a lot instead of she, her, and women, and she brought the eternal influence into each point. And I just kind of mentioned how they took a lot of true doctrines and twisted it enough that it wasn't true anymore. And then the third question, what did you think was the tone and intent of the What Women Know article? Sarah said they kept saying how they won't be defined by the roles, and it wasn't spiritual, it was more intellectual, but trying to use spiritual points to prove it to be correct. And then Madison was saying how it was a defense to everything Sister Beck had said, and pretty much saying that what she said wasn't super important, and that agency still exists for women to choose the workforce over motherhood. And let's see, I pretty much said the same thing. And then the last question, did you see any of these philosophies of men mingled with doctrine? If so, where? And we all agreed that it was all in the What Women Know article. And I had mentioned how they twisted things just enough. They emphasized woman power and equality for women a lot, which is definitely a philosophy of men that's big right now. And then Sarah mentioned the stripling warriors story and how they had such a temporal view of it. And there are times when war and killing is necessary, but and obviously war is horrible, but there's times when we need to fight for family and freedom. And that was definitely one of those times. And then Madison mentioned that they mentioned that we need to be okay with women being in the workforce, and they degraded homemaking and women who choose that a lot. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Great job. I learned listening to you two. I appreciate you guys. Have been a great group. Thank you. I think we only have one more.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
I'll get it posted next week. Do you guys know?
I haven't looked ahead.
I haven't looked yet either.
Have you, Madison?
I'll be prepared to do notes if we need to, but I haven't looked ahead yet. So.
Okay. I'll run the discussion. It's my turn.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Have a great week.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye.